Hey there, Rich Florence, and welcome to today's episode of the Underdog Coach. I've got a very important message that I want to share with you, a success principle that I believe is timeless and is every bit as true today when it comes to success in any given area. And be sure to hang with me until the end, because if you happen to be in a place that you don't desire to be, maybe in a tough place in a certain area of your life, I got something very important that I want to share with you at the end, so be sure to sit tight until the end of the day's show. But I want to talk to you about something that, maybe is not super exciting, because in today's culture, everything is all about immediate gratification, instant grits, quick, fast food service. We want everything fast, and it's certainly part of our nature, and there's no question in today's culture that we desire to have immediate gratification with almost everything that we do. But I believe that in the most important areas of life, the most successful people in any given area tend to have a much longer term approach to how they think about things, and they learn how to apply delayed gratification into their life. And so I want to talk specifically about that. And again, be sure to sit tight until the end of the video, because I've got something important I want to share. But I think it's only natural, when we are born really desiring and getting immediate gratification. But as we begin to mature and get older, you think as children, we begin to kind of learn to stretch our gratification, maybe in terms of hours. As young babies and children, we learn that we have to wait, we have to do this before we're able to get this, and we delay our gratification. And then as we begin to get a little bit older, and certainly everybody progresses faster in this way, but as we get a little older, we get to be older kids, we get to be teens, we start to learn to delay our gratification in terms of days, and being able to wait days to be rewarded for our efforts. And then, a little bit as we begin to become adults, most people, I think average people, start delaying their gratification in terms of weeks. But above average people, they in any given area begin to delay that gratification in terms of months. But I believe the most successful people in any given area start to learn how to think and delay their gratification in terms of years. And I want to give you some examples, and again, really give you something to help you at the end. But if you think about someone, and let's take any given area. If you take fitness, for example, and I'm by no means do I consider myself to be all the way to successful, but I want to always be leaning in that direction, because what happens is just the other day I saw a guy that was much older, in his 60s, but very, very fit and very healthy. And I asked him, I complimented him because it was very evident, not that he was doing anything to show it off, you could just tell. And I said, hey, what do you do? You obviously have really good habits and things you do. You must work out. He goes, yeah, I do push-ups and sit-ups. And I was, getting him to tell me, but he does several hundred push-ups, sit-ups, he does pull-ups, he does it every single day. I said, wow. I said, did you start that last week? I was kind of joking with him, of course. I said, how long have you been doing that? He said, about 30 years. And the point is, when you look at people that are very successful physically in terms of their fitness, they have certain habits and approaches, and they think with a much longer term mindset. Whereas, and even when you watch what they eat and just observe, whereas I'm tempted to get the fried chicken, the bread, and the French fries, they typically get the grilled chicken, the grilled fish, the vegetables. And they make choices like that more often, not because they're thinking about how they'll be gratified or how they'll be rewarded, in weeks or months, but because they've just adapted a much longer term approach. Whereas average people, right, most of us, what are we looking for? We're looking for a very quick fix. We want that pill, we want that diet that we can just do something over a short period of time, get rewarded, so then we can get back to our old habits and everything's going to be okay. The problem is that keeps us in a constant cycle of really up and down and failure or being average. And I'm certainly learning to lean in this direction in this area, but I know for me, there was a time that I was 40 pounds overweight. And what I will tell you is the short-term fixes didn't work for me. They really didn't get me to where I needed to be. They would for a short period, but then I was right back to where I was before. Ultimately, I had to start putting some things in place. And the truth is, it took me a long time to lose that 40 pounds. Really not as long as it took me to gain it when I think back about how many years it took me to gain it, but it did take a long time. And so for me, this is an area that I want to be self-aware of myself, because I'm aware enough to know that I got a lot of growth to be doing. But really, it's all about my mindset more than anything. And I also try to observe people in this area and look at the way that they think and the things that they do that produces them the results that they want when it comes to fitness. You know, the same is true with relationships. You know, if I try to think about my relationship with my wife and try to think only in terms of short term, eventually there's problems. If you know, ultimately I have to think about, if I want a successful long-term marriage, I've got to think about doing things that with the long term in mind, not just the quick fixes, right? When it comes to relationships, it's absolutely true. But when it comes to finances especially, you know, you think about someone like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, when he makes a decision, you know, he thinks in terms of 10, 20, 30 years. And you might say, well, yeah, he's a billionaire. Of course he does. Well, no, if you study and you read about Warren Buffett, you will find that he started thinking that way long before anybody knew who he was. Long before he was successful or wealthy, he started thinking in those terms, right? You think about an Elon Musk, and you look at what he's doing when it comes to energy and space and kind of the way he's thinking and his long-term vision and what he puts out there, right? I mean, he is a long-term thinker. Look what he's done when it comes to business and finances. Now, I'll tell you, I don't know Elon Musk. I don't think necessarily in his relationships has he necessarily taken that same approach. So again, that's why I talk about it. It really is in every area of your life. Anybody that you look at that has a lot of success, you will find that they have a much longer term approach to the way they approach that area of their life. And so this is why this is so important, because you know, financially, if you're in a place that you were not where you want to be, as an example, what is everybody doing? They have such short-term thinking. That's why so many people, if you just observe, not being judgmental, but if you observe people in any given area that are really in a poor place because of their decisions, if you just observe some of the decisions that they constantly make these one decision to the next, with a very, very short-term horizon. If you look at it, you know, you can see, and sometimes it's hard to see in our own lives, but if you look at people doing that, they're always looking for that quick fix. You know, if people that are in a mountain of debt, they're in a bad place because of poor habits in their past. You know, how many people are looking, they could just hit that one home run. It's why people fall into the trap of get rich quick type things. It's why people get involved in Ponzi schemes. It's why people look for that penny stock where they can go put all the cash they have and hope they can triple it, you know, in a short period of time so they can dig out of their mess. It's why people go buy lottery tickets, because if I could just win the lottery, right? If I could just win the lottery, I could become successful and everything would be okay. The truth of the matter is, building wealth and becoming successful takes time, and everybody that does it thinks in terms of years. They make decisions with a much longer term approach, and this is especially important if you're in a bad place. If your marriage is in a very bad place, here's the thing: quick fixes are not going to solve the problem, right? One counseling session is not going to fix it. One date's not going to fix it. It takes time to improve that relationship. If you're in a bad place financially, there's not just one thing that you're going to go do that's going to solve all your problems, but our natural tendency is that we want to lean back in this direction. We want to look for those quick fixes to solve our problem, but you have to realize that most of the problems, especially the ones that we have taken a long time to create because of our habits in the past, are going to take time to get out. And the unfortunate thing is this is a message that is not always very exciting because everything you hear is always about trying to sell you the quick fix, right? It is that quick fix that's going to solve our health problems. It's that quick fix that's going to solve our relationships. It's that quick fix that's going to solve our finances, when the truth of the matter is it is going to probably take time. And so I want to share a very important message. If you happen to be in a place that you really don't desire to be, we all want to improve and get better, but if you're in a tough place, right? Let's say, for example, that you have $50,000 in debt, and you're $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month short every single month. That is a tough, just as an example, that is a tough place to be because you've got this mountain of debt, and every single month it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger. That's tough. Now here's the tough news. If you're in that situation, quit looking for the quick fix that's a matter of weeks or months that's going to solve it, because it's probably not. You probably took a long time to get in that place. The truth, whether it's exciting or not, is it's probably going to take you years in some cases, or a year. It's going to take you time to get out of that. Now that can be tough, right? And that's not exciting, and it makes you want to click off this video. But here, what I believe is the positive news, what I found to be true. The minute you stop thinking this way, you begin to stretch your thinking with a longer term approach. Quit thinking in terms of weeks and months. And you start to create a plan for yourself that is in terms of years. That's a longer term plan. And I'll tell you what I mean in a second. But as soon as you start to create a plan and you start moving in that direction, I mean, the minute that you change your direction from looking for all these quick fixes and you start moving in this direction, the minute that you move in this direction, even though you're still $50,000 in debt, but the minute you've got some kind of a plan and you're taking steps in this direction, I believe the tension in the situation that you're in begins to go down. I believe that all of a sudden the stress gets smaller, because I truly believe it's more about the direction than it is the destination. I understand, hey, being in debt like that, that's a tough place to be. If you're falling short every month, it's a tough place to be. And even when you start moving this direction, you're still a little bit short. If you've got some kind of plan and you're moving in the right direction, everything begins to get better. Look, it's not so much where you are. Again, it's the direction that you're moving. So, for example, if you're in that situation, I'm just using finances as an example because it's kind of easier to understand, but it applies in every area of life. If you're $50,000 in debt and you're $2,000 a month short, it might mean that you have got to go do something temporarily, right? You might have to go Uber, deliver pizzas, sell something on the side, start a side business where you're selling, where you're working 40 hours a week in your job, and you're 20 hours a week doing something part-time that's temporary, that may not be what you want to do forever, but to kind of get you some traction, to get some more cash flow coming in. You might have to do some temporary things that you don't want to do to kind of start to bridge that gap where you're short, while at the same time developing a longer term plan to make yourself more valuable, to create more income, to start making more money. You know, and you may not have the exact plan and the exact solution right away, but if you'll start to think long term, hey, where could I be 2 years from now? Where could I be 3 years from now? And then, you know, you might do some temporary things that you're not going to do for long, but you've got to be willing to do them, to get out of balance for a short time, to start moving yourself in this direction while developing a plan, right? Seek advice from other people. Get yourself a plan to become more valuable. But again, I'm telling you, even though you might be working harder, the minute you start moving in this direction, the tension's going to go down. You know, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more excited, and then you're going to begin to drop some of those other things that maybe you don't want to be doing because you're developing a long-term plan for yourself. So that's the message for today, is to understand that it takes time. Success takes time. If you want to be physically fit, it takes time. If you want to have good relationships, it takes time. If you want to build wealth, it takes time. But the key is to enjoy the journey. But when the journey is not fun is when you're going in this constant cycle of quick fixes from one bad problem to the next. And you know, just observe some people that you consider yourself to be below average, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but in a certain area of life, whether it's in their relationships, whether it's in their finances, they're typically making one short-term bad decision and then making another short, because they're only thinking in terms of where can I be in a week? Where can I be in 2 weeks? And you've got to start thinking longer term. You've got, you just got to, because success in any area is all about long-term thinking. So I just challenge you to stop looking for the quick fixes and don't beat yourself up if you're in a bad place. You know what? Hey, it's okay. We all make mistakes. If you happen to be in that place, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but start making a plan for yourself and moving in this direction, because I promise you that the minute you move in this direction, you are going to start with a longer term approach. You're going to start feeling better about yourself. You're going to be more excited about where you can be. So, hey, I would love to hear your comments on this. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Please comment below. And be sure to like the video and share it if you really like it with someone else you know. Maybe it can benefit them. And hey, be sure to subscribe right here to my channel. Click the subscribe button or click the little underdog icon on the video so you can subscribe to the channel and be posted, be notified of new videos. So I look forward until next time. So I look forward to sharing with you. Be sure to stay hungry. Make it a great day.